And I think this build here is actually going to take more time than the Jackson. So this build will actually be quick just to watch because it'll be from start to finish. But for me, who knows how long it's going to take. Hell. All right, this is part 2 of the Ibanez rebuild. It's actually, like I said in the previous video, this guitar is going to take some time in between. Actually, it's been about almost a year, really. But now I'm actually fully committed on finishing this thing. I've actually have parts already accumulated. Some of it's already right here. And some is actually en route. But I literally already purchased everything I need to finish this. So, going to get rocking and rolling on finishing this project. What I've already had done in between from painting the epoxy prime of the body, the only thing that wasn't filmed is that I've already went ahead and sanded it. And the previous crack that I thought was here is actually totally all gone. So the epoxy prime pretty much filled it in. There's not any trace of it at all, which is excellent. And plus this thing has been sitting for almost about a year. So between temperature changes and humidity changes, you know, it would have reappeared itself if it wasn't totally taken care of, but it's not. It's actually, it's pretty much ready to go. There's only 2 things that has to be done before we can actually go to paint, and then it's pretty much assembling of all the new stuff and just redoing the whole thing. For this, need to actually install the battery box, which I already have. It's going to go somewhere right into here, and it's pretty much the same method, as the same way as I did in the Jackson JS32T. But, you know, I'll show you that. And what I've actually decided since then was I am going to remove this. I wasn't going to do it at first because I wasn't really totally, you know, sure on the color or how I want to do it. But, you know, I want to match the paint job with this. So one of the things I'm going to have to do, of course, I'm going to sand all this down, and you know, we're going to lose the name and the check mark, but we're going to put it back on. There's an eBay store that I found that actually makes replacement decals. Some of them are water slide and some of them are vinyl because of the type of color, the color that I chose on this. This is a very thin vinyl. It's a 2 color. The Ibanez name is basically looks like holographic, and the check mark and the RG name is like a metallic chrome. And by the way, the eBay store, in case you want to do this yourself, let me see, I think his name is on here. I can't remember. I have to find out. Oh, I'll find it. I'll put it in the description as soon as I remember on who it is. It only cost me like $10 for 2 color. 1 color is like about $6. You can get even 3 color on it. The name, the check mark, and whatever series it is, S series or RG or whatever. And also prices vary depending if it's the vinyl holographic type of metallic stuff versus just a solid color. Other than that, very affordable, and we'll get into that. So right now, we're going to get started on the 2 main projects. Project 1 is getting the battery box routed out and the hole drilled into it. And then the other is removing all this excess hardware, tagging and bag it, and sanding this down to where this is ready for paint. And just in case if you want to know, this is a vinyl decal right here. I don't know about the check mark, but I can see through the clear this is a decal, so we're going to have to go in pretty deep because obviously you have to use a lot of clear coat just to bury a decal because it's raised and you want it flat. So here we go. Okay, so now we want to actually figure out the exact placement of the box. So what I have right here to figure this dilemma out is, you know, I have the cavity for the electronics, of course the tremolo system, but of course in here, you know, is the input jack. So I gotta figure out how deep can I go in, because I don't want to go in too close, it'll interfere, because I got to make sure there's enough, you know, room for all this. So first thing I'm going to do is just take a simple ruler, put it all the way back, see where it ends up. I have 1.5 inches, so I got 1.5 inches, you know, put a little mark. That's about as far as I can go. I want to have it look neat, you know, I just don't want to slap it in anywhere. Plus I want to make sure how much do I have over here to deal with. So closest I got here is 3 inches on the dot. So we'll just say 3 inches here as a rough mark. So it means I can't go any closer than that. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, can't go in this area here. This area is off limits. So I have all this and all this. So I thinking possibly right about here. Yeah, I think that looks pretty sweet. So I don't want to like that. It looks kind of dumb. So I think right about here. Just to make life simpler, I'm just going to go ahead and just trace it around, trace it around, trace it around, trace it around. All right. So that's where I got to carve out. But also, how deep can I go? Let's see. According to this, 7/8 of an inch is how deep I can go. I'll just put a measurement on here, 7/8. All right. So now I'm going to get my router stuff set up, and we'll start dealing with that. Also, before that, I'm going to set up my drill press just to make, you know, 4 little holes in the corner just to get started for it. Plus it also gauges my depth. And so go ahead and do that right now. Well, I already drilled in my holes just in the corners to the depth, the maximum depth that it's going to be, 7/8 of an inch. Did it through my drill press, and I used a piece of tape as a guide, 7/8 of an inch. And in case you want to see how that's done, go check out my Jackson build. It's just drilling 4 holes. You don't need to use a drill press. You can use a drill, but I like my drill press. It's good to have. So now, get my router set up. Over here, I'm going to get the depth done, and then we're going to route this. Yeah, that works better. I just try to take out too much on the dive. So all I did was just change the distance to half. Now let's see what that does. Gotta change my angle. Let's see what it is over here. Do a little test fit. You know, I got it a little bit tight. So let's clean up an edge somewhere. Almost there. Bring up another edge. A little bit over here. Almost there. Yep, that's it. That's what I like. Next thing to do, blah, blew that right on my face. I was dumb. Going to have to drill another hole for the power into here, which is just a simple little one. I think I'll just go, let's see, just to make it easier. This is like in the center, so I'll go somewhere in the center through there. We just make a little pencil mark. So I think I'll go from there to there. Go get my drill. Okay. All right. So this thing's roughly about dead center. So let me stab myself with that. So we'll do this. What you do? Yeah, I'm gonna need a longer bit. I know what I used before. I don't know why I didn't think about it. Stared at me right in the face. My long auger bit that I used on the last build. There you go. Why is it loose? And we're through. All right. Now I just need to cut this end off because I don't need it. Don't ask me why this was even actually on here. It was a box I just ordered off of Amazon. Thought it was the exact same one as I got for the Jackson. Same size and shape, but maybe it was meant for something else. So we're just going to test run this wire through here. Put that in here and see how it fits. Oh, that's going to be a pain in the ass. Oh, okay. Just to get that to fit correctly. Looks like I may have to file a little bit of a notch. And a little Dremel action, really. I'm just making a small little channel. Just, well, it sucks sometimes. So it just made a notch right here. Just enough for the wires to slip through. Let's see if that works. And yet enough to cover this lip here. Should cover any little bit over here. It's still kind of a tight fit. I may have to router some more. Let's see. Oh, that's why. This little plastic nubby thing right here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to router just a little bit more right here. There's a little plastic thing right here, even though it's about like a 1/16, but that's catching, so set the router one more time. And just clean that part off a little bit more, which means I got to file out that groove again. All right. it's only right here that I gotta do this. Maybe because of that nub, I may not have to put that groove in, but we'll see. Oh yeah, okay. Perfect. That's where it shall be. Now, go ahead and make a couple marks on where the screw holes go. And take this out now and set it aside. Go ahead and put a couple small holes in there. But I'm not going to actually obviously screw it in. It'll just be a guide after it gets painted. Okay, so this is all routed out. The only thing really left to do before paint is a little final sanding, just some final cleaning up. I will end up masking all this because I don't want any more excess paint build up. But for now, I'm going to set this to the side, and now we got some work on the neck to do. All right, so we're at the bench and removed all the hardware, which is all right here. I went ahead and masked the edges because I'm going to sand all this off. I don't want to really accidentally do some damage to the sides, which I shouldn't. The other thing I also did, I took detailed photos of the emblem because I got to put it back on in the exact same spot. So not only I just took a photo of that, like just how you see it, but I also went ahead, laid a ruler in different positions, basically, you know, where the points of the check mark ends. I also made like a little mark here and onto that side. Basically lines up with there. And I also did one on the corner here, which is where that is. Basically, I'm triangling, you know, exactly where to put it. So mark to mark to mark. And, you know, took also photos of, you know, distance between here and there. So I should know exactly where it is. And here's the new one. You can it's almost, the backing paper is almost transparent. You can see through it, as you can tell. So another thing I'm going to do, basically right about now, I mean, it's a little bit off, but no big deal, is that I'm going to go ahead and kind of, actually I may not have to. Nah, I'm not going to do it. I was thinking about just like scribe cutting so I could just lay it out. You know what? Actually, that probably is not a bad idea. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just set this in place, kind of tape it, and then I'm going to cut like here and here, so that way I could just line that up too when it comes time to apply this, so it would be perfect before I remove this. Be right back. So I went ahead and cut it. This will actually make lining it up pretty much easier, but of course I'm still going to have my triangled points. And so now I'm going to set this aside, get my sanding stuff set up, and we're going to remove all this. I'm not going to go all the way down to wood because then I would have to seal the grain and all that stuff. I just really want to get to the original black, basically to get this off. And the old coating, which, seeing how thick that is, it's probably the same as the body is. It's probably got some type of resin coat, so I shouldn't have to worry about going too deep. So time to get set up on some sanding. So I got some 80 grit on here. The reason why I'm going aggressive, because I obviously got a lot to cut through, and when I get down to it, I'll probably end up stopping at 320. So let's just start with 80 grit and see how long this thing takes. Or actually, you know what time for it is? One of those dumb times.
Rock stupid time lapse. Go drink a Bud Light and cut it off.
Oh, I'm sorry for this. It's the first time lapse of the season. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh well. Okay. Just get over the formalities of the painfulness of time lapse. And it's really nothing special. It's just sanding off an emblem. That's it. Getting through the clear coat, sanding off an emblem until I got to the base coat. Really. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay. Stop. That's about where I want to go. Just enough to get rid of the original logo, but yet keep some of this on here as, you know, protection. Nice and smooth. So next thing to do is go ahead and get this prepped for paint, mask the entire neck off, just leave that. And then so the next step is we're going to put down the first coat of paint, and when we start doing it, I'll start explaining the color. So that's what we're going to end up doing next, obviously. Let's go. Let's do paint.